Stephanie.
Sherry, how's it going?
Oh, girlfriend, you are sunshine on a cloudy day.
Oh,
Happy Friday. Um,
yes.
it's been a while. We haven't been apple picking for a couple of years, but we're both busy moms. We got different things on the go. And today we're going to have a Codezilla chat. If you can see my mug, we're going to have a Codezilla chat about healthcare.
Yes.
And so I'm going to take a step back. Was this last millennium to like the 1900s when the 1990s, when I think I might have first met you? I met you and I thought you had the most amazing job in healthcare. Do you want to share who you worked for at the time?
I think you're talking about the Cirque du Soleil.
Yes. Can you give us
Yes.
a snippet and some gossip of what those gymnasts, flamethrowers, pretzel people were doing
Yeah.
behind the scenes? Because I'm certain that being a physiotherapist for Cirque du Soleil is a little bit like Love Island meets, I don't know, like some
I don't know.
reality show that like we just have to know more about this.
Oh, gossip. Let's see. Okay. So I was on the show called Kidam, which did go through Toronto.
Hmm.
Um, that on the outside looks like a very dark show, but it's actually full of hope.
Oh,
And I was on the tour, the European tour. So we traveled through Amsterdam, um, Barcelona, Valencia, Bilbao, Madrid, um, Vienna, and Berlin. And that took about 2 years. Um, I study how bodies move and how power moves in healthcare, which I think we'll get to a little later on. But these bodies just move beyond what you would expect. Um, they just push the boundaries of human potential. Yeah, super fun.
beautiful. I can imagine. That sounds like a magical experience. And having been lucky enough to see Cirque du Soleil as an audience member, not behind the scenes, it looks amazing. I can only imagine what it's like, what it's like when the curtains close and the tent comes down.
Yeah, or exhausted.
Yeah, I can
Everyone.
imagine. So you got a background in healthcare, and I kind of gave away your initial career was as a physiotherapist.
Yeah.
What led you to a career in healthcare, Stephanie?
Oh, well, I think it probably started on the first day I was born. My mom, um, it was a frigid January morning. All the moms on the maternity ward were feeding their babies except my mom. Her arms were empty. She called out to the nurse, "Where's my baby?" And the nurse replied, "There are no black babies in the nursery." But I was there in plain sight. The nurse wasn't looking for a body. Looking, she wasn't looking for a baby, rather. She was looking for a body. And she was only looking for a part of me, not my whole. I've had many instances like that through healthcare, through my interactions as a patient. Um, and then one day I saw a therapist tending to one of my field hockey colleagues on our team, and he didn't look like me, but he delivered care the way I knew I could. And I said, I want to be a physio. And so I set out to practice. Um, and I've been doing that for over 3 decades. I'm one of the few Black physiotherapists in the nation who teach. So I'm a professor as well, who teach and still touch patients.
You are literally hands-on and you're also sharing what's in your head. Um, that's a really dramatic story, how your healthcare literally started at birth. You already had my heart skipping a beat. Um, And I know your mom. Your mom is a lovely human being, so I can imagine we both are moms ourselves. That would have been heart-wrenching to have experienced. So take me back to you saw someone give healthcare that inspired you. What did they do that inspired you?
Mm, just the care with which they tended to my friend. It wasn't just technical. It was highly technical, but it was
Mm.
deeply human. So that drew me. And physios spend a lot of time with patients. I think, other than nurses, so don't quote me, okay? But I believe that physios spend the most time with patients other than nurses. And
Really?
so we have a lot of time to help support and heal, but we also have a lot of time to harm.
Oh, you flipped that one on me. I wasn't expecting that line. That's a very powerful juxtaposition. A lot of time, good or bad. How are you going to spend it?
A
It's
lot
not
of
for
time.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So let's dive deeper because I know you're very passionate about healthcare and you're a real advocate. Have you had stories to share with your family? You're a mom. Tell us about how many kids you have, ages and gender, and any stories you want to
yeah.
share?
Oh, so I have twin boys, teenage boys, 17 years old, very active athletes. They bring a lot of energy into a household. I think I recently posted on LinkedIn a video of them at Halloween, and it was just like this high energy.
I think I
So
saw Spider-Man. I think it was Spider-Man.
yeah,
I could be wrong. There's always either superhero. Now it's Minecraft because that was obviously pre-teen. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I have met your boys. I have to interrupt you. I will never forget when you brought the twins, because they're twins over, and you had to feed them. And remember, I have two daughters. I have never seen two little rugrats eat so much in my entire. I was like, how do you afford to feed these critters? They are just
I
so
remember you
ravenous.
saying that. Yeah, we had them in those high chairs that kind of hook onto a counter,
Yep.
and it was just like shovel after shovel after. Yeah,
I was
yeah.
exhausted just watching you. I don't know how many calories you burnt giving them calories, but I had never, I mean, I don't know what I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
Good.
they've had a lot in their lives. They've had a lot of interactions as athletes, but also just as human beings.
Yeah.
They've had a lot of interactions with the healthcare system. We all do, either as patients or providers or as caregivers. The best one was I took my son to get a heart scan, and he was lying on the bed, and above him was a beautiful painting of the galaxy, the kind that reminds you just how vast the universe is. And the cardiologist leans over and says, "What do you want to be?" And then Cole shrugs. He says, "I don't know." And then the doctor says, "I don't know isn't good enough. You are here," and he points up to the earth, "to change the world." That's what real good medicine looks like. It doesn't just measure your heart, it moves you towards your possibility. So think of the difference. One child called into possibilities, and decades earlier, one pushed away. Same system, two completely different types of medicine.
Too completely. Well, that doctor already had me when they had a poster of the galaxy on the ceiling because how many times have I sat there? The dentist, the gynecologist, x-ray, you name it, and you have to mentally compose yourself because you're staring at all the cracks and crevices and tiles on the ceiling. And I've literally said, often to my gynecologist, where you're feeling very vulnerable, I've often said, you need a poster up on the wall or the
Yeah.
ceiling. But that doctor took it to the next level. I love that story. So that's inspirational. I hope you have more
Hmm.
inspirational stories, or maybe you don't, because I think what's important is, as I'm already seeing with elderly parents, the need to always be an advocate for health. What are you experiencing? What do you see as a healthcare provider, an educator, and also just a human being?
What am I seeing?
Yeah, in the healthcare
Um,
system.
I'm seeing that we're all practicing medicine. Okay, it may not feel intuitive, but it's simple. Medicine's diagnosing, treating, and preventing unwellness. Every time we sit in silence, soothe pain, listen deeply, we're all practicing it in clinics and kitchens and classrooms and in boardrooms, whether we have a title or not. And so what I'm seeing is more people, or what I'd like to see is more people um, practicing health with care, healthcare.
Oh, you really took that word and tore it apart and reassembled it.
Yeah,
Health with
because
care.
what we're getting right now, I think, is health without care, and that's not healthy for anybody.
Do you think that's always the case, or do you think it depends on time, place, patient?
All of the above, all of the above. We've turned healthcare into patients into widgets. It's just like this constant like rush, 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 rush. How many patients have you billed for? How many patients have you seen? How many charts have you completed? There's a huge, we're inundated, right? We've got lots of patients, not a lot of providers.
Yes.
Um, but my blame isn't on individual providers. My blame is on a system that set it up this way. So that's what I'm seeing, like very, very fast care, but healing takes time. We've forgotten a little bit about what our ancestors taught us, that our well-being is intertwined with the well-being of others.
Yes, and that does go back to spiritual, communal based living and attitudes towards the world, nature around us. And
Hmm.
I have to be honest, I've come full circle because I was a bit stoic and I have a STEM and coding camp, so it's all science oriented. And as I've gotten older, hopefully wiser, I've gone back to say, well, what are the classic traditional ways to heal? Does it have to come in with a prescription? How do we do it before we had modern day medicine?
Yeah. Well, research shows that social connection is one of the strongest predictors of health.
Social connection. How is that defined?
Oh, you and me chatting,
Does this still
going for
work
a
if it's
coffee.
digital? Does it still count if it's a digital versus apple picking like
Yes,
we okay.
yes, on the phone,
No, okay.
right? Social connection. Isolation is deadly. Social connection
Yeah, it's
is important.
I agree. How do you nurture that in your children? Because I'm gonna totally fess up. I actually just told my husband, like literally yesterday and the day before, I worry about my youngest because I feel like she really grew up when the iPad was invented. And again, I'm not a hypocrite. I know what I do for a living. I'm into coding and technology, but I feel like you have to really promote socialization, and even though I know they're socializing digitally, you have to really actively work to get in person, face to face. And when they're too old for extracurricular activities, or
Mhm.
summer camp. What are you doing with your 17-year-old boys to nurture that?
We have a very spicy household, which
Tell
means
me more.
there might be a little loud voices. Um, you know what? I have not. I think it's very complicated. We have not figured it out. We have not figured it out.
So
There,
I'm really humbled that you actually admitted that because I'm feeling embarrassed that like I read all these I have all these parenting books on my bookshelf I've read, and I literally feel unprepared, and I literally just bought like 3 books at Indigo on how to raise a teenage girl. Like I just
Mhm.
embarrassed. And this is my second kid. I didn't like you think you know what you're doing and you're back to the start. It's like a bad game of Monopoly.
I tell my kids I need a do-over. I honestly need a do-over with
With
them because
both of them or just one? Because they are
both
twins.
of
You
them.
got a 2-in-1 package.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know, but there can be a healthy what I do know is there can be a healthy balance, right? There can be a healthy balance. It's not uh, quality is most important, not the quantity. So
that's
the
what I've always
quality of digital engagement that you're teaching, right, is important.
totally. You can be using technology to learn, to educate, to draw. Oftentimes it's classic things just reinvented, reading, inventing music. So I don't think it's always the device. It
Mhm.
is how you're using it. Um, Quality. So give me examples of how you and your family promote healthy, quality healthcare as a family.
Oh, as a family,
Yeah.
let's see. So we spend time with the people we love. We are do a lot of caregiving for my elderly mom who has chronic health condition. We eat Jamaican food. We move to the music of our youth. Um, we go for walks outside. Very difficult with these teenagers to
I was
drag them
about to
out of the
say,
house.
my kids won't go for a walk unless there's boba, unless there's bubble tea at the
Yeah,
end of the carrot of the
I know. I know. I know. I don't know what it is. Um, but we could be healthier for sure. We could
You're
be
my
healthier. And then,
healthiest friend. So the fact that you're saying that is
oh, for sure. So for me, so what I'm starting to do is to um, pour back into me, start to fill up my bucket list because if I'm exhausted, it's not going to be helpful to anybody. So I do a lot of reading. I'm doing a doctorate in social justice education right now. So I've got my job, my family, and my studies, and I binge Netflix.
Okay, that part I didn't know. I could go off on a tangent on Netflix
Oh
alone.
yeah, I binge Netflix. And then the other thing is consistent discipline, physical activity.
Yes, yeah. Well, you've always been disciplined, both health and diet. Um, you've made me feel guilty because, I may like
No,
the the chocolatey, oily things in life, but
so do I. So do
I
I.
do go for walks. Thankfully, I go for walks. But back to healthcare. So I appreciate the advice of what you do as a family. And I also appreciate the fact you're really candid, that you're trying to figure it out, because I think it's human and humbling to be frank. And you've got your doctorate, you're still learning, literally still learning as you
Not yet, but still learning. Yeah.
still learning, work in progress. Um, do you have any stories of when you did have a healthcare scare or challenge with either your boys or your elderly mom who has chronic health conditions and how you dealt with that?
Scare. Oh my gosh, there's been recently there have been quite a few scares. Um, But maybe I'll tell you a story that doesn't necessarily answer your question, but does speak about health equity.
Sure.
Um, because everybody's got that friend that no matter what you talk about, it's always going to go back to that one topic.
Are
I'm
you that
that
friend?
friend. I'm that friend.
You're the friend who's making the world a better place, and I'm all for it because at the end of the day, as the marketer that I am by training, health, wealth, and happiness, health's at the top of the food chain.
Yeah, it's the one thing that unites all human beings around the globe. We all want a long, happy, healthy, full and free life for ourselves and our loved ones.
Amen. Okay.
So this scared me. One of my twins, who shall remain nameless, teenage twins, fell off of a swing trying to save his phone from falling. Classic.
He fell off a swing while trying to save his phone. He was on his
From
phone.
falling out of his pocket. From
Got it.
falling out of his pocket.
Okay.
Okay. Classic.
Yeah.
Uh, he uh, he was in pain. I was worried. We ended up in hospital. Within minutes, a black woman in scrubs walked in, stethoscope, glasses, looked like she knew her way around. I said, "Thank you for coming so quickly. You must be the nurse." And she said, "No, I'm the neurosurgeon."
Stephanie.
Exactly. I thought I knew power. I studied it, I taught it, I named it, but it showed up unexpectedly in me. Even with all the assumptions that I had pushed against, I had internalized them. It had invaded its host like a virus. And that's when I knew I need medicine. We need medicine. Medicine needs medicine.
So I appreciate you being candid enough to share that because I know that you and I might have been the recipient of the we have been of the presumption like no, I'm not the wait staff. Or like no, like I own the company.
Yeah.
And it's all good. Luckily, I have a very low ego and I'm just grateful to have customers. But I appreciate you being honest enough to share that because that is a very powerful story. Um,
So that's how power hierarchy is insidious and affects healthcare, right? Because I say medicine is sick. It's heavy on power hierarchy and light on humanity. Not tired, not burnt out, but sick.
as a side note, can I just say, again, I'm sorry, it's the marketer in me. You have so many amazing lines. You need to take these lines and make them into like a quote, a quip, and put your face. I'll give you an example what you need to do. But these
Yeah.
lines are amazing. Like you've had half a dozen lines that I'm thinking that's a post. Like you need to see it and repeatedly reshare it because it's so powerful. We need to reinforce it in our psyche.
Mm, thank you. Thank
Mhm.
you. My company is Medicine Needs Medicine, where I do speaking engagements talking about health equity. Yeah. But thank you.
You're
You
welcome.
always give me great ideas.
Well, it's easy for me on the outside, because I like to believe I'm well read and well knowledged and a learner for life. I come from a family of teachers from my mom's side, from my prairie school teacher grandfather, and that trickled down to his children and coincidentally down to me, it seems. So I
Yeah.
like to believe I have a lot of ideas or I've come across ideas. I'm not smart enough to have them myself, but I value those who
Untrue.
no, I cobble together from those smarter than me. So when I hear something that's really profound, I think, "Ooh, that needs to be shared with more people."
Mm, thank you.
I liked on your LinkedIn profile, your headline is "Making Healthcare Human Again."
Mhm. Hmm. Hmm. It's become deep. It's become very technical, but it's deeply human.
Deeply human. Um, what do you think is the number one thing we should do as parents to help make healthcare human for our family, our inner circle?
Start to notice. Start to notice. So notice the interactions that are happening around you. Notice the survey that doesn't have a tick box that quite identifies you. Notice the assumption that I speak English and all of the print material are in English. Notice the stairs that are there without a ramp.
Yes,
So
I
start to
noticed.
notice.
You have to interject with that one. I never noticed the stairs without a ramp until I became a mother and pushing a stroller. And even in, I have to just say this, even in some of the more like fancy parts of Toronto, fancy retail areas, can I tell you, my eldest is now 18. They only got a ramp in ritzy Yorkville, I swear, in the past year. 18 years later, 17 years later.
We rarely think about our privileges.
Mm,
I don't think about the fact that I can speak English or that I can walk up a flight of stairs.
mm.
So we have to start noticing these privileges and how we can help to privilege other people.
Yes. Sometimes I think it is just genuine blind spots, and I can give someone the benefit of the doubt. And sometimes I wonder if there's a little bit of callousness behind the scenes.
I think
Thoughts?
it's often willful ignorance.
Okay.
Willful ignorance is when you should know something, but you choose not to know.
Yeah, and in all fairness, we're in our own head. We have busy lives. We have a busy world. We're surrounded by a lot of noise, and the noise seems to get louder and be more
Hmm.
constant. And just being a parent is a lot of work. Um, on a side note, do you think you have more parenting work now that your boys are older, or more when they were younger? Because
Yes.
I've heard both sides. What I presumed pre-parenthood versus now. So what are your thoughts?
Yes. Much more difficult. When they were little, you could kind of contain them.
Like I
No,
had like the lasso, and you're like roping them up,
you could
shoveling
kind
all
of,
that food into them.
yeah, you could, they're in a small area and what's that saying? Bigger kids, bigger problems.
I have not heard that, but I believe
Small
it.
kids, small problems. Big
Yeah,
kids,
because
big
back then it
problems.
was like dress yourself, brush your teeth. Like it seems so innocent. Um, I mean, I wasn't going to go down this path, but I will say I have known at least three young men in my orbit, not direct orbit, but outer circle, neighbor 2 blocks down the street, where young men have been suicidal. And that one really scares me because I'm hearing that's not that uncommon these days. Now I have two girls, but I also find I don't always know what's going on in their head. So, hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on either. I don't know. I think there are probably some really good questions I should be asking that I'm not asking. Um, yeah, it's very complicated. It's a grand experiment.
So I'm going to challenge you on the complicated because one of my former colleagues, I'll always remember this line she had. She said, "Life's not complicated. People make it complicated." She was no nonsense, like how I think you and I would self-identify. She got things done. Is it?
I think differently. I do think it's complicated. There are so many things that even in this chat that um, I don't know what's happening with you, around you, um, with my clients. You know, there's it's not unusual to hear somebody labeled non-compliant, for example, but really they're just overworked and under-resourced, right? They don't come to your appointment because maybe there's no money for bus fare. Maybe there's no food. Maybe they got to go to work, right? Can't come to an appointment at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Totally. Okay. So
So,
cause and effect, peeling back the
yeah.
layers to better understand what's going on. Okay. I defer to your wisdom. It is complicated, which doesn't mean you can't still ask straightforward questions and be involved and probe. Just know
Yeah.
that you may have to take the windy road to get to the the final destination of what you were trying to uncover.
Hmm.
Steph, I'm feeling a bit despondent. Like you're my smart friend, and you're that you're the PhD training with this
What?
healthcare expertise. I want the cheat sheet.
No cheat sheet for life. No cheat sheet.
Parenting 101. What is something you do feel is within our control? You talked about noticing. What is within our
Hmm.
control, whether it's our younger children or our elderly family members? How do we look after their health care? How do we protect, advocate, get involved?
Hmm. Start asking questions. Who gets what? Who does what? Who decides?
Yeah,
Start
I
asking questions.
start asking
Even
questions.
that, even a can we revisit this? Pauses a very, very fast interaction, right? Somebody who might have like 20 patients sitting in the waiting room. Little things like that. Just like to slow, if we all slow down, it might lower the pressure,
Totally,
right?
totally.
Just slow down.
Slow
That
down.
would be,
That's good advice for a busy, bustling city like ours. Um, I will say this for the healthcare system in my personal experiences. Overall, they've been overwhelmingly positive. I think that's partly because I live in Toronto, where we have physically more healthcare providers. But everyone from gynecologist I've mentioned to pediatrician, I now have elderly aging parents going through the healthcare system operations. I've been really impressed with the quality and the caliber of service. But then I hear of my aunts in the prairies where my mom is originally from. It's pretty dismal. Like they are just not getting there aren't enough people to look after their particular healthcare needs. It's pretty discouraging.
yeah. So I would say I would agree. It's not all bad, and that's not the picture I'm trying to paint. But it is more bad for people from marginalized communities than not.
Oh, I believe that. I believe that.
So much more bad, actually deadly. So let's just like capitalize on all these really great providers and shift the system that at times isn't really meant for us. And what I mean by that is that, um, as I said before, we measure billing, but we don't always measure healing.
We measure billing, but we don't measure healing. Wow. And if you're saying that about the Canadian healthcare system, I can only imagine about the healthcare system south of the border.
Hmm. I don't know much about that system, but that globally, people from marginalized communities um, get worse care. Yeah.
I don't doubt that for a second. And they probably, because of the reality of being marginalized, is often also poverty related, maybe education. You're probably already starting off at a worse, stack below the baseline. So you're going in below baseline at subpar. and then it just deteriorates. Yeah. So,
Awesome.
Steph, you mentioned about there's more focus on billing versus healing. What do you suggest we do if our loved ones have to work with the healthcare system? What are your thoughts and observations?
Hmm. Just refuse to shrink. And I should remove the word just because it's not easy. Um, but many people who look like me have had to shrink ourselves
Yeah.
to be seen as worthy of care. Actually, one of my sons, I have a post on this on LinkedIn from last week. It's titled "You Can't Go to the ER in a Hoodie."
Yes, I
So
saw
he was
that.
attacked by a dog, and the first thing I said to him was, "We can't go to the hospital in a hoodie. You have to go and change and put on a dress shirt and dress
A dress shirt and a dress pants to go to the hospital after being attacked
to
by a
go to the
dog.
hospital to be seen as worthy of care." Um, because there's some stereotypes around wearing hoodies that are
Of course.
not
I know
justified.
exactly. I know exactly. You think of Trayvon Martin,
Yeah, these are conversations that Black families have with their kids all the time.
especially with young Black boys.
Yeah. So, and I don't want to ever have to say that to my son again. So I ask him not to shrink himself, not to um, try to be, I don't know how to say this. I ask him to be who he is. Yeah. And speak up.
Yeah, you,
Feel good about yourself. Because you've got, um, you're full of possibilities. You were here to change the world.
back to the doctor that had that poster on the top of the ceiling. Um, well put, well put. Steph, anything else you want to share about being a healthcare provider, an educator, or just being a parent dealing with aging elderly parents, kids that need to have hospital visits?
Yes. Um, I think the final thing I'd like to say is that medicine needs medicine, and you're the dose. You're the dose.
You need to package these up and they're like love letters to the world. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Steph. You were my medicine on a dreary day, and it's been too long.